And it is still kind of cold out, but nowhere near as cold as it was yesterday. Oh man, they should have shut things down yesterday. There's no reason why you should be going to work when it's minus, into the teens, plus wind chill, all that stuff. They shut down everything. I think in this. I know they shut the schools down. That's one thing you got to teach your kids growing up. Just because you didn't have to go to school today doesn't mean when you grow up, work's going to give a shit about the weather. It's kind of scary because, even when I was my brief stint in the Navy, Sea Cadets, we had heat and cold conditions at the boot camp. Once it got above heat condition, I think it was like 3 or 4, they shut things down pretty much. But here, private industry, forget it. But that's the real world. I guess one of the directors, and now I can't remember his name. I was reading through this article, and apparently this is the guy, Peter Hoare, I think it was, something like that, with a name like Hoare. How could you forget it? But it's spelled Hoar, you dirty bastards, if I remember right. Apparently he's going to be the one working on the Blake's 7 reboot. Blake's 7 reboot. Why am I worried? Very simple. Look at what's happened with all the reboots around. Look what they did to Battlestar Galactica, and you had all these people praising, what's his nuts, like, he was the grand high poobah of everything. Oh. Like all the guy did was take somebody else's shit and, throw a bunch of bullshit in it from somebody else's shit. Ron Moore. Yeah. I'm shocked he ain't in charge of it instead of Peter Hoare, because look at DS9. We find out years later DS9 was a ripoff of Babylon 5. Now, it's not saying Babylon, DS9's evil. I still enjoy DS9. But when you sit back and look at all the similarities, it was plainly obvious. Except they were trying to market it as the opposite. They were trying to say Babylon 5 was a ripoff of DS9. And it turns out, no. Paramount had the Bible for Babylon 5 for over a year. And then they found out that JMS was getting B5 produced somewhere else. And next thing you know, DS9's in production. And don't get me wrong, I still enjoy Deep Space Nine. I still enjoy Babylon 5. But like I said, I love how Ron Moore basically is the master of recreating other people's shit and making it somehow a hit. I don't know how. Because, like I said, all he did with the new Galactica was took the original concept and then made it, humans created Cylons. Like, he didn't steal that from Asimov. And then the robots rebelled. Oh, and then in the documentary, they never said why the war actually began. When if you are a Galactic fan, you know exactly how the goddamn war began. But that's why I'm kind of worried about the Blake 7 reboot. Because what are they going to do to this poor show? And also, why doesn't anyone come up with a new show anymore? Okay. Yeah, thank you. You've jumped ahead on me a little bit, Raj, but we're getting there. Now, he's claiming that because the show, went to Disney and all that, that's where things went wrong. The problem is this. Disney had no power. Okay? They had no power whatsoever. Hang on. Somebody trying to flood the chat. Like this hasn't been attempted a billion times before because they're hoping to crash out the stream. Okay. Disney could only make suggestions. They were allowed to have advisors. But guess what? You can't blame it on anyone but Russell T. Davies. He was the head man in charge. He was the guy making all the shots. Making all the judgment calls. And that was what he churned out. Now look, I'm not saying it was all a disaster, but like I said, when I go back and look at the finales, I'm like, And also, some of the episodes, which everybody declared were the greatest thing since sliced bread, made no damn sense whatsoever. I'm like, and I love that too. Moffat did that quite a lot as well. As long as you got to the big, the big cry at the end or the big speech, no one cared. Um, that was, Major League where he went wrong. I agree with you. Space Baby should have never been a season opener or a series opener. The musical numbers, it's like, okay, I can understand having one in there like you did, like, say, back in, Daleks in Manhattan. But when you have the whole cast and crew engaging in musical numbers like this is, you know, Rodgers and Hammerstein or some shit, no, it's not. It's not going to work. I like that there's always a twist at the end. Oh, by the way, I think Millie's on vacation again. Must be nice to work like 2 minutes and then go off to vacation for months, in tropical areas. Well, Joss Whedon don't care anymore. Joss Whedon has made his money. Like I told people, if Joss, I die laughing. He really cares about Firefly. How many conventions has Joss Whedon been at since Avengers landed $1 billion? Joss could have walked into any studio in Hollywood after he made the Avengers movie hit $1 billion and said, look, as part of my next contract, I want to have money to produce a Firefly sequel. And he would have gotten it hands down. And he didn't bother. That's what I mean. He gets paid either way, whether you like the movie or not. The guy's made, millions upon millions of dollars. Hang on, and he really didn't give a shit about Justice League as well, didn't he? Okay, that was, well, the reason why I wear, this is not a beanie, it's a toboggan cap, by the way, aka a boggin. And the reason why is because I used to get ear infections rather easily. So that's why I wear them. And still do to this day. Because I was, maybe a decade ago, I had a middle ear infection that got so bad I was walking around like I was drunk because my balance centers were screwed up. That's like I said, he didn't care about Justice League or anything. He's got his money. Whether you like the movie or not, he got his money. I'm tired of hearing, we gotta see the Snyder Cut. So, you'll eventually get it, just like people got the Donner Cut of Superman if you got the one edition. And the thing is, I can't figure out why they didn't stick with the Donner Cut in some areas. I'm not kidding. When I go back and watch it, I'm like, so instead of just having one of the nuclear missiles that Superman threw off into space in the first movie trigger off the Phantom Zone and crack it open, you created this stupid thing in Paris with a bunch of terrorists that are going to build a working H-bomb with a dead man switch. Oh, by the way, get ready for this one. Here's the agenda they're trying to push now. Fallout's viewing figures went down because the show got woke. Really? When did that happen? Also, remember, when Fallout Season 1 aired, they had all the episodes available that evening. Whereas now they're spreading it out week by week. Okay? But of course, you've got all these imbeciles running around saying the viewing figures have dropped by such and such a percent. And it's like, no, because they're only airing one episode a week, you dildo jerk. Ugh. And by the way, show me where it got woke, because I don't see it. Where's the big woke agenda? There's only one character you could consider being woke in that whole series, and they don't have a major role. They're kind of off to the side. Oh. Well, yeah, I heard Thoris is going to be a political commentator now that, Doctor Who's on the skids for the year. And, oh, Sandman was boring as shit. I really tried. I really, really tried. I'm like, I don't think I made it past episode 2. I was like, matter of fact, Sandman was a fitting name because it put me to sleep. Yeah, it just wasn't my cup of tea. Like I said, I'll maybe give it another shot someday, but I'm still dying laughing. Yeah, you got all these guys trying to tell people Fallout's gone woke and Fallout. I'm like, dude, have you seen the reviews for the show, even on your precious Rotten Tomatoes? The website that suddenly is more important to everybody on the planet Earth for some dumb reason. Even they're giving the show high reviews. Well, I'll have to agree, Philip, because I never made it to season 2 of Sandman. Never watched it. Never. Like I said, I got like 2 episodes in, and I was out. This did not catch my eye. Like I said, I'll give it another shot someday, but I don't know. They're talking about Starfleet Academy like, it was so bad that, it jumped out of your television and like went out and did things to your sheep. Okay, I didn't plan on watching it. I have not watched any garbage that's come out since the 2009 movie. The last thing I saw with the new Trek related was Into Arsonist, where suddenly Khan went from being a Sikh warrior to the whitish British guy on planet Earth. Somehow Spock going back in time completely changed his genetic heritage. But oh well. I said, yeah, trust me, when I saw the clip where they now have a Jem'Hadar who's like half Klingon. Basically, Klingons are getting a bad reputation. They're saying, like Kirk, they'll stick their thing in just about anything. Or allow them to be stuck by just about anything. I don't know how it works, because as far as we knew, Jem'Hadars they weren't capable of reproducing. They were a clone species. And also, by the way, I came up with a Jem'Hadar character like years ago. And no, it wasn't the result of a thing. It was a result that there was a cache found after the Dominion War of Jem'Hadar embryos that were in stasis, and they had to decide what to do with them. And instead, they called in this Bajoran scientist who was a highly gifted geneticist, and he actually manipulated it so that they came out as themselves, not worshipping founders or dependent on Ketracel White. And that's how I wrote it. It didn't have to be, oh, well, my parents were Klingon and Jem'Hadar, because now Klingons like Kirk will have sex with anything. Oh, well. I didn't watch any of it because it did exactly everything that someone told me that I knew it was going to do. Capitalize on the original series ideas. Same shit with Starship Dysentery and all that. You know, and Pike, yeah, it's like, oh yeah, everybody from the original crew just happened to be on with Pike. Oh, well. It's that time again. I got to get going. So please, be kind, be calm, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. And with as much as the craziness is that's going on in this world, all I can say is enjoy it while it's here. Besides, the aliens are coming on 31 Atlas and they're going to wipe us out. So, so take care, everyone. Enjoy your Wednesday.